Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's podcast on higher studies. In the show, where we explore inspiring journeys, breakthrough ideas, and people inspiring the future. I am your host, Hossain Masum, and today we have a truly special guest with us, joining me in someone who respected and represent academic excellence, global mobility, and the spirit of innovation. He completed his MBA under Erasmus Plus Mundus scholarship program under European Union funding, and currently he is pursuing a PhD in management under MSCA Masters. So it represents a Marie Curie Fellowship program. So he will be doing his PhD in two different countries, Finland, LUT, and Australia, RMIT. He having too many achievements what many dream to achieve in lifetime that we will discuss in our podcast, and we will talk about his journey, what it really take to secure an MBA and MSc a fellowship in Europe, and how these opportunities shaping his academic career and the future of business research. So without further ado, please join me welcoming Mr. Arome Ibrahim to the podcast. Hello, Arome Ibrahim. Thank you for joining us in the podcast. So,
I'm
how are you doing?
awesome. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. So let me start with asking you some basic questions so about your studies in back home in Nigeria. So you are as from Nigeria. So how was the life there, and what have you studied before joining to the Masters in Impact Entrepreneurship program?
Okay, thank you so much, Masum, and thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. I'm super glad to be here to share my journey with your community. Before I start, I'll give a brief introduction. My name is Arome Ibrahim. I am a junior researcher at LUT University in Finland and also co-enrolled at the RMIT University in Australia under the Dream Plus Plan doctoral program, which is a Maria Curie funded PhD program. Um, Before my master's degree, my first degree was in geography. So I studied geography for my first degree, which is my bachelor's, and it was quite interesting, right? Initially, it was not my plan to study geography. I wanted to study architecture, but my dad wanted me to study medical lab. And then when I applied to the school, I was given geography to study, right? So even though I had a very huge interest for geography, um, eventually being offered geography for my first degree was, should I say, a call of fate, because I got to do quite well in the course at my university and came out with a very good result, right? So most times in life, you might want something and like ends up giving you something else, right? The goal is just go with the journey, enjoy it, and make the best out of it. And before you know, you might end up getting what you eventually wanted at the first instance. Yeah. So no matter the course you're studying, even though it's not your choice, just enjoy the journey and you'll be the best at it.
Yeah, to connect with the audience, because the audience might be from different backgrounds. So
Yeah.
somebody is starting like pharmacy,
Hmm.
biotechnology, biochemistry, or maybe some are from other background, yeah,
Yeah.
computer science, physics. So as you are from the geography background, so what was the, I mean, idea to pursue MBA? So what come your mind that to apply, you will apply to MBA program in Europe? So that maybe many will be able to connect, so somebody just who are wishing to switch their degree. So if you share your insight, like how was it? And
Yeah. And I think before I answer that question, I would love to say that the ErasmusMundus Master's Program, most of the programs are not specific about the course of study you had for your first degree. And I was quite lucky that the ErasmusMundus Masters in Impact Entrepreneurship was quite
yeah,
open
yeah,
to,
we will come to the Erasmus on the master scholarship,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'm
impact
going,
entrepreneurship program. But before, like, you know what made you to apply
yeah,
to
I'm going
MBA
to that.
program? Why not you applied for your background related subject or the course?
Yeah, so it's actually a journey. So that I was actually going to that. Why I applied for an MBA was because when I graduated from school, I started a business, a digital marketing business, and my goal was to support small businesses with website development, social media management. So that experience building a business for 2 to 3 years helped me to hone my skills in business management, in finance, in basics of marketing, right? So even though my first degree was in geography, graduating from school, from the university, I was able to build that background and experience and achievement in business and management. And that helped me to apply for an MBA because I wanted to get grounded knowledge in academia on how to really build a business from ground up, how to scale it, and see how to make the best out of it. So that is why I went for an MBA.
Okay, that's interesting. And was there anybody that was influencing to follow the path, or like it was you that was like, okay, I'm a person. I will look for like what is there something that might relate to go further. So, what was there to to follow it?
Uh, I think I would say what inspired me to go into an MBA or an entrepreneurship program was, like I always tell you, Muhammad Yunus. Yeah. And I wrote his name. I wrote
Okay.
his name in my statement of purpose because what he's doing is just simply amazing. And I wish I have the opportunity to meet him one day. I would really give him a hug, right? But his impact on building a business that has that social impact around it was really good, and that helped me to really want to go into impact entrepreneurship and also have an MBA degree.
Okay, that's interesting. And one more thing, so that might also be useful from your perspective to the audience is
Mhm,
the I think the in our country the education system is not that strong compared to the like developed countries. So
mhm.
how is in your countries in terms of like pursuing MBA to Europe or maybe in one of the leading business schools? So is it easier to, or like you had to struggle a lot to end up getting a scholarship somewhere like in Europe or US or some other part of the world?
I think now it's a bit difficult, but back then it was quite easy because the competition was not that much. Most people did not really see that interest in applying to scholarships or Erasmus Mundus scholarships. But now we have more popularity in the course. A lot of people are talking about it. So a lot of people are interested in the program, right? But back home in my country, Nigeria, we usually have webinars like this where like they invite scholars in Europe to come and share their journey. So that really inspires students to want to apply for the scholarship. And I think according to statistics, Nigeria is like ranks maybe second or third after Pakistan or India, if I'm correct, in the ranking for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So it shows you that it's quite popular around the world, and a lot of students are really eager to apply for the program, even if it's super competitive at the moment.
Okay, so was it the Erasmus Mundus Masters Impact on Entrepreneurship program the only program that you have applied for, or was there any other program you applied but you choose this one? So what was?
Yeah, it was my journey was quite interesting. I applied to four programs. ME, I applied to a program related to arts and culture. I applied to a program related to climate change, and then one related to service design and innovation. I was rejected for two programs. I was reserved for one, and then I got 1 years from ME, which came at the last end of it. So it was quite interesting. My advice is for anyone listening, try and spread your applications to as much programs as possible. I know that can be a lot of stress, but that will help you to expand your reach and be able to get that 1 year you need from the Erasmus Mundus program.
So you have been selected for two program, but why did you choose for the Masters in Impact Entrepreneurship program? So what was the reason behind?
I think I wanted to just pursue my goal of being like Mohammed Yunus, right? So I think impact entrepreneurship was quite interesting, and the opportunity to study across 3 business schools in Croatia, Lithuania, and Belgium was really good. The opportunity to also learn about technology entrepreneurship was of interest to me, and also being able to travel to 3 countries in 6 months for each country was really interesting. And I think that is why I really wanted to go for the impact entrepreneurship.
Okay, so it was because like to get the exposure of the education,
Yeah.
cultural things to different country in the Europe, and okay, and so I would also love to know like how was the feeling like when you get accepted for the Erasmus Mundus Master Scholarship program. So what was your feeling?
Yeah, I still remember that day. It was a very stressful day. I was going back home and I was in a taxi and I just got the email notification and I was like, okay, what's this? So on your Android phone you can see a mini version of the email. So I just slide down a bit. I saw it. I was like, okay. I got down from the taxi, opened the email. I saw like, oh, you have been offered the position, and I was excited. I was shouting. Like I called my mom. I was like, oh, wow, I've gotten the scholarship, and she was shouting. She was rolling on the floor, but it was just pure joy and pure happiness to be selected out of almost 800 people across the world to apply for the program. And being able to meet 21 plus people from different parts of the world, spending 18 months with them was really a joy, and I cherished every moment, even though it was a bit stressful here and there. But the joy of studying for free across Europe, sponsored by the European Union, was a blessing. And I always remember that moment up to this day. It was really interesting.
Yeah, it is something like get into 20 among the 20% from 800 is, yeah, it is somewhat competitive
Hmm.
as people from all over the world apply for the program.
Yeah.
And so we'll go and we'll discuss more about like the application process, not in brief but in short. So uh, what it really to take to get into the impact entrepreneurship program. So what is the requirement? So if you say that this is something that might will make difference, like who do apply. So there are 800 people, so they select like 20 or 15. So what do they see that the other don't, but they choose from? So if you give the idea to the people like who will be applying for.
Yeah, I would say 3 things, 3 important things. The first one is your purpose, right? Your purpose to achieve that scholarship or to get that scholarship, right? So why do I want that scholarship? You need to be clear on your why, which is your purpose for getting not just Erasmus Mundus scholarship, but for any scholarship. Why do you want to get that scholarship? Why do you think you're the best person to get that scholarship, right? Out of 800, 1,000 people, why should they choose you? So you should be very clear on your why. Secondly, you should be very clear on your motivation, right? Don't just say, oh, I'm from a poor background, or my father is poor, or my mother is poor. No, always be a person of value. Communicate value. Communicate that you can be of value to the program, because the Erasmus Mundus program is an investment. They are investing in you, right? They are investing in your talents. They are investing in your background. They are investing in your skills, right? So what is your motivation to be in the program, and how would you leverage on that investment to make the most impact in your career after you graduate from the program, right? So, like I said, the first one is your why, which is your purpose. The second one is your motivation for the program. And the third one, right, you need to really get that right, is being able to tell a good story, right? People don't really know how to pour their thoughts, their minds, their aspirations on paper, right? Because they cannot see you, but they can see you through what you wrote on your motivation letter, right? So you should be very clear on your story, right? Share your journey, share your impact, and share what you would do if you get in the program. I think that's also very important, because the most important thing is they first of all read your motivation before they end up reading your maybe your academic degree and the rest. And if they are not convinced on your motivation, I doubt any other document will really help to support
So,
that.
so you mean it's all about like convincing them to sending you document in a way so that they choose you?
Yeah,
Is it something like
telling
okay,
telling a good
okay,
story.
okay? So yeah, many people ask about the CGPA. So is that matter for like getting into Erasmus Mundus Master Scholarship Program in business?
It
CGPA
depends.
was okay.
I feel it depends on the competition. Yeah, if you tell a good story and you have done like good work, like your background is good, it's solid, even with a poor GPA, you can really get in, right? Because the most important thing is you fulfill the criteria to be admitted into the program, the academic criteria. And if you fulfill that, even though you don't have a high GPA, as long as your SOP is good, your motivation is good, your references are very good, and your CV is good, I think you stand a high chance to get into the program. Because what the admission committee look at is not just your CGPA, it's a holistic overview of every single document that you submitted, and it will be ranked and scored accordingly. So your CGPA is just one part of it, and you really need to be very strong in the entire documentation.
Okay, so and many like every year we get questions. So people ask about the program. Like this is I feel like the only one on only program in the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters Degree Program in business domain.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it is like also important that business degrees are not cheap in Europe or
Hmm.
some other
Hmm.
part of the world. So it is very expensive to do MBA or some other program. And Erasmus Joint Master Degree Program fully pay, and your tuition fee and monthly stipend, also some other cost as well.
Hmm.
And I would love to know from you to let the audience know about like okay, so as you already mentioned about the CGPA. So is there any other factor that influence like to the interviewer to to get selected for this? Is there anything else beside this documentation and also maybe some CGPA? Anything else that can help to the participant to
Yeah, I think that's just basically it because they don't accept any other additional supporting documents, right? So it's important that you take your time to gather strong evidences and strong application, like the resources you want to submit for your application, because that is what they are going to read. And my
Mhm.
advice is don't try and pack everything, like try and make it so wordy, right? Try and simplify it, make it as simple as possible because they are also humans. Yeah. If your font size is too small, they might not want to read it, right? If it's too big, right, it's too big. So always be in the middle and make sure that your submissions are very simple and straight to the point, and you are making use of clear words in your writing, and just imagine that you're in the program. Imagine you're already in the program, right? And share your aspirations, share your thoughts, and share why you are really passionate about being part of any of the Erasmus Mundus program you're applying. And my advice also is try and check out the program's activities on social media. Like go through their LinkedIn, go through their Instagram, see what they are doing, follow their updates, and that will give you some idea on how to put in a very good application for the program.
That's a very good information from your side, I will say. So we had never been, gone through this kind of information because there was nothing in that time like when we
Sure.
have applied for, and
Yeah.
I can see a lot of award you have. So in your history of the Dream Plus Plus, website, so have you achieved all this award during the EME or before joining to EME? So if you share the achievement you have, uh, so that might will also help to the audience to connect. Like, is it the mandatory to have some kind of international, achievement or award to get selected for this kind of program or not? So I might will mention two or three that you have already received. One is like Next, Economy Entrepreneurship Hero and Impact Award from Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So you got this one, and
Mhm.
also as well as Children Village Award, one of the 50 boys in VR and AR and 3D by 3DM UK. And you also speaker at World Expo Europe and Level Virtual Paris. And you did too many things. So what was that like happening during the EME, or you did all this before? So can you share
Yeah,
it?
you sound like my supervisor during my interview. He was like, "How are you able to do all these things?" Yeah, but I think it's just passion, right? If
Yeah,
you're passionate
yeah.
about something, you're passionate about an industry, you would want to do everything, right? You want to explore how amazing the space is. And for me, some of these achievements, I was able to achieve them before I got the Emmy program. I was able to achieve some of them during the Emmy program, right? And I'm still achieving some of them during my PhD, right? So my advice is, even though you have something going, that should not disconnect you from still making that impact in your community, still making that impact in the lives of others, right? Because most times that impact you're making can help somebody get started with their journey, right? But if you just make up your mind to say, oh no, since I have already gotten this, I'm no longer doing any community activities anymore, right? You're no longer supporting the growth of the industry. So that is why I always give my best, right? I volunteer a lot. I support initiatives and programs, and that really helped me to more or less be selected for the two scholarships, because they have seen that I'm not just about my studies, I'm also about making an impact towards humanity and our future generations. So my advice, or a simple hack to stand out for either an ErasmusMundus application or a Maria Curie application, is to have that extracurricular activities, volunteer for initiatives you're passionate about, support projects that you're interested in, and use those projects and volunteering experience to tell your story that you are really somebody of impact, somebody of value, and trust me, most of them really value that extracurricular activities.
So what I feel is like, during the first semester, we had a financial, industrial financial related course. So there was asset. I feel like, okay, this is kind of asset beside doing the degree. So that
Yeah,
might will help the candidate to get into the business related program for
yeah.
scholarship. So yeah, this is really important. So and then now we'll go to get more information from you about the life and the education in three different countries that you have gone through in 18 months. And we'll start from Jashem. So
Mhm.
it was the first semester, right, at Zagreb School of Economics and Law at
Yeah.
Croatia. So before joining, what was your feeling like? How would be the Croatia and be Zagreb? So coming
Uh,
from Nigeria, so what was your feeling like? How it would be?
yeah, I think I was anxious, and
Yeah.
I was more or less anxious because chatting with some of my colleagues on WhatsApp, and we're like, "Oh, I'm coming tomorrow. I'm coming next tomorrow." Everybody was like, "Oh, we're coming in." And getting to meet them in class was really inspiring and amazing. Getting to meet you in class was also very cool, right? But I think the cultural shock, some of the things that we were supposed to do that we don't usually do in our countries was really surprising, right? But I think spending more time in the city, going out, exploring the city really helped to be more absorbed in the culture and the way of life in Croatia. And I think that really helped with the studies at the business school, because we now had the opportunity to engage with the Croatian students out there, and it was really fun. My advice is, like Masum always say, go out, party, have fun, right, and just enjoy life, and also have that balance between your work and your studies, and you'll be the best at it.
And how do you do that? Because like in country in Bangladesh, like okay, so they feel like okay, so if you give them any task, so they will say okay, I have exam, I have some other thing to do. So when do you get this all this like free time to do a lot of extracurricular activities or other thing, and how do you balance them?
If you're passionate about something, you always make time for it, right? For example, if you're married to a woman, you always make time for her, no matter how busy you are, right? So that also applies to career and extracurricular activities, right? You always have that time. It might be 1 hour, it might be 2 hours, it might be 3 hours in a week. You can always make time to engage in extracurricular activities, but always find that balance, right? Make sure that the activities are not affecting your studies, they're not affecting your productivity in your workplace, right? And when you find that balance, you just be amazing at what you do, right? But my advice is try and find that balance. And when you do, you know you have done that.
Yeah, that's true. So when you arrived to the Zagreb and started your journey for the that was the basically the MBA course, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we got a degree for the MBA
Mm-hmm.
from Zagreb School of Economics. So if you tell something about the school, Zagreb School of Economics, how is that in terms of education quality, accreditation of the business school, and also the teaching method, and yeah, and also the living standard and everything, and also the city, if you can share.
Croatia is it's a nice city. A bit, should I say, conservative. They are not that energetic, but they are very nice and warm people where you get to go close to them. Um, the Zagreb School of Economics and Management is more or less a very, very vibrant space. They have very good rankings in terms of ACCSB and Eduversal 5 palms, I think, but they are really quite good. I think the dean is also is a cool guy, very bright young dean,
Yeah,
right?
I
But
I feel like he is the one of the smartest guy in all the business school we have
yeah,
gone
yeah,
through.
yeah, yeah.
And very
He's a very
smart with a very good dressing sense. So yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah.
is
He's a good
every
guy.
time he come up with like shirt and tie and coat. Yeah, and a very good speaker as well.
Yeah, he speaks very well, and
Yeah.
he's like the face of the school, and he's doing very, very well, bringing a lot of partnerships for the school. But I think it's the
Yeah,
Zagreb School
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
Management.
One thing I should like add to this. So in the Zagreb School of Economics and Law, they have a very good partnership with the all European business school, all the top leading business schools, like in Paris, Germany, and UK, and China as well. So yeah, that can be a good addition for like even if somebody come to the uh, Zagreb Jashan to study, even not from the EME. So that can, open a new door for them to have some kind of exchange program to different
Exchange. Yeah,
countries.
yeah,
Yeah.
true. Their network is quite good at the Zagreb School of Economics and Management.
Yeah. So that time it was not in Shenzhen when we have arrived.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, true.
yeah. So yeah. So how was the visa procedure to come to the Croatia and Zagreb for you? So there was like
It,
a different history for others. They are
yeah.
from like different countries. So I had a story there. So you also have one. So how was in your case to was it smooth, easier, and what was that?
I think it was a bit stressful because the Croatian embassy was not that how do I put it was not that well spread out across the world, right? So in Africa they only had like two embassies, one in South Africa and one in Egypt, if I'm correct. And so I had to send my passport and my application all the way from Nigeria to South Africa, which took like 3 months before I got a feedback on that, right? So the process was a bit slow, but the support from the EMI program and the staffs at the Zagreb School of Economics and Management was very supportive. They were able to email the embassy in South Africa, and I think that really helps to hasten the visa process. And after that, everything was just a breeze. I booked my flights, I arrived on time, and I enjoyed the journey in Zagreb.
Yeah. And will you suggest somebody, like if somebody want to study Zagreb School of Economics, and how
Yeah,
would
definitely.
how
It's among the top 200 business schools in Europe, right? So it's not in Europe, and I think yeah, in Europe, yeah, if I'm
no,
correct.
no, 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 not in Europe, but in the whole world. So one of
Yeah,
the
in the whole
top,
world, yeah, the top 200
yeah,
business schools in the whole world. So it's very, very strong in terms of business and management. So
yeah,
it's a good school.
yeah, that's true. And do you have any story that you still remember that, yeah, I miss about, maybe it can be food or some transport or the weather or whatever. Like, is there
No, I,
anything like
I think
memorable that you still remember there?
yeah, I think staying in the same apartment with you and
Oh,
your
yeah.
crazy cooking and late nights noise, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
it
was
was
crazy.
really
Yeah, crazy
it
time.
was
Yeah, I used to
interesting.
come at late night. So yeah, it was yes, a nice experience. Sometimes
Yeah,
yes, entering into the apartment was I was making noise. So yeah, it
yeah.
was fun. So good. So then let's go to the ISM. So in our next semester. So we
Mm,
have the second semester at ISM in Vilnius
yeah,
in Lithuania. And so far I remember that was the one of the coldest place I have ever,
yeah,
for say 6 months.
yeah.
So how was it in your case? How was the experience to living in the ice?
Yeah, Lithuania was a bit chilled, bit cold. I think Lithuania prepared me for Europe or for Finland, right? So that was really good. But ISM was a good experience too. But I think the change from coming from Zagreb was we were all in a class, just our cohort learning together. But coming to ISM, we were mixed with current master students in the particular degree we enrolled for, right? So we're learning together with the Lithuanian students, and it was very interesting because we got to do group assignments together, project presentations together, and we could see the differences in the way we presented and
Uh,
worked on our
and
projects.
and do you remember the travel from Zagreb to Lithuania with bus? I
Oh
think we did
yeah,
it with flex bus for
36 or
like
34
15
hours.
hours, 17 hours.
It was 30
Yeah, it
something
was.
hours, 30 something hours. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I swore I would never take a bus ride
Yeah,
again.
it was really tiring, long distance travel was like very much tiring, especially when you
Yeah.
travel through bus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we had a transit for a few hours to Czech Republic or what,
Yeah, we passed through
or
Germany.
Berlin.
Yeah, yeah, Germany. I think we did check.
Okay,
Yeah, it was fun.
okay. What was the difference between like Zagreb and Lithuania at
And
ISM?
I think differences in terms of Lithuania was a bit more how do I put it? Infrastructure wise, they had the bigger city, a more advanced development in terms of technology and innovation. So it was more or less like we're moving to a more advanced city. Everywhere was busy, and the business school was quite big, right? I think that also gave a lot of room for us to explore. We had lectures in different halls, so that was really interesting. And I think ISM was more or less like a well-structured space, right? And we had also it was like we were in a big school and different students, different activities, right? Even though Sachem is
Well, I
big,
I, I,
it's
I
popular, but
I feel like you are like giving priority to ISM than the
no,
the
no,
Is
no,
it like,
ISM was quite good. Zachem
okay,
was big too, yeah, but it was
okay.
more or less like how do I put it? It was not that big, right?
Mhm.
But you felt everybody knew everybody. It was like a mini campus. Everybody knew everybody. But moving to ISM, it was like we were in a school. Then you know what happened in Belgium. I think we'll go to that. So it was like we're
Mm.
moving from stage to stage. So the
Yeah,
the next level was bigger than the previous level.
Yeah. So in terms of the quality of the education of ISM, if you compare with the JASHM, so JASHM itself is like one of the top 200 business school,
Mm-hmm.
and ISM, I feel like in terms of quality of the education, I feel like it's way better for my side. So I enjoyed. I
No,
basically,
now you are being biased.
because of the course, I think because of the course, because I am from a technology background and most of the
Yeah,
course was from technological
technology.
side, so I
Yeah,
enjoyed it a lot.
yeah,
And I mean, Jashim is a nice place. I enjoyed a lot as well. But in terms of like the course curriculum and the teaching method, I feel like okay, I said
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
yeah.
Yeah.
ISM
So
was good.
yeah. So what was in your case? So how you remark?
For ISM,
Yeah.
I think it was good. We had a big library, so we could borrow
Hmm.
books. I
Oh
know you
yeah,
borrowed
yeah.
like a
We
lot
used
of
to
books.
yeah, we used to take a lot of
Yeah,
books.
I borrowed a lot of books. Yeah.
I still can
Uh,
remember I took a lot of books, and
yeah.
the deadline was finished,
Yeah.
and because of the delay, I had to give a lot of fee, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a big school and a big space to learn. The classrooms were very, very techy. Like you could connect your laptop and present, right? So it was really more advanced. And like you said, the curriculum was more tailored towards technology and sustainability, right? So the conversations in the class were very interesting, and also a lot of project presentations and case studies, right? I think the case studies was the interesting part because we get
Yeah,
to do
exactly.
research together as a group and present our findings.
And one thing is that like both of these school, business school, are the topmost
Yes,
business school in their region. So if you
yes, yes.
see 3 4 country beside the Croatia, so Jashem is the best business school there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, to coming to the ISM, so it is one of the best business school. Their ranking is same as like the Jashem, and I think
Yeah,
better in terms of the number.
yeah.
So yeah. And what is your feeling to stay in the cold place? So do
It was coming from a warm country, Nigeria, and going to somewhere very chilled and cold was quite interesting. I remember buying a heater for my room and using it for the first time, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is good. This is good." At the end of the month, I got a bill of like 100 euros, right? So I was like, "Ah, no, I'm taking this off." Right. So it was really because for Lithuania they use the central heating, right? So the heater only comes on when it's like super cold or in winter. And not being used to that, coming from Croatia where we could turn the heater on any time of the day, and coming to a city where the heater only turns on during the winter was quite different and surprising, but it was really good.
and one most important thing we should discuss about like was there any difficulties in this time? Like was there any issue that raised uh, living there? It can be like about renting the accommodation. Maybe was there any? So that happened, in many countries. So you have put advance to the accommodation, but they haven't returned. So I had the experience. So many of our cohort, so
uh,
our fellow had the same. So how do you see that now?
I think just pay attention to the terms and conditions in the rental contract, right?
Yeah.
Most times it is stated that you should make sure your room is clean before you move out, right? So make sure you clean your apartment or your room very well. Make sure the stove is very clean, right? Sparkling clean. And just leave the room as much as possible the way you met it. And I think you will not have any issues with getting your refunds from the landlords or from the agency. But be respectful of the properties in the room. Try as much as possible not to break anything, right? Unless that will be taken out of your rental deposit.
Yeah, even though like there was issue, with the Hillary, with the others. So yeah, like everybody have like cleaned everything from their
Yeah.
side, and we took the picture and videos, and then they claimed okay, so there is something that have maybe they put in the email, so you can't get the refund. So yeah, it is always better to be careful, like when
Mhm.
you stay somewhere, to see the agreement, like what is written there. And it happened, especially like when you move to a new country. This is normal these days, I feel like, in Europe. So you just need to be careful about it.
Be careful. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
And do you have like any kind of like suggestion, like for the people to for the next second semester, especially in the ISM, so they can like follow maybe same as like the accommodation issue they can.
I think just make sure you understand the terms of the agreement, right? Read the contract as much as possible. And like you said, clean as much as possible before you leave the apartment. That'll really be good. And always stand your ground, right? Know your rights to your apartment, and try as much as possible to stand your ground so you would not be shortchanged or be cheated on, right? Make sure you take pictures, take videos before you move into the apartment and after you move out of the apartment, right? So you can compare evidences when you are trying to submit your deposit claim.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll be now, end up with the third semester in Belgium. Then we'll go for the MSc scholarship program. So uh, Belgium was our last semester, especially. It was in ACC Liège. So we did a lot of things. I feel like we got very less time in terms of like, finishing theses and courses.
Yeah.
So how was this journey in Belgium for you?
I think Belgium was intensive, right? We had little time, like you said, little time for our thesis. We had to do thesis, attend classes, participate in webinars, participate in group sessions, right? So we're doing a lot in Belgium, and most of the guys were going crazy, right? But it was really also fun. We tried
Why
as
did we
much as
get
possible.
crazy? What happened?
Yeah, because of the stress. The stress was a lot in the
Okay.
last semester, and people
So,
just
so,
wanted to
so, so
graduate.
you mean like it's not a journey that will be smooth, but there will be a lot of problem that you will go through and you will deal with,
Yeah,
and you will
yeah,
throughout the journey you will learn.
yeah.
Not just from the book, maybe
You
from
let
life.
you let a lot from life in Belgium, right? So
Mm.
I think you are the best person to share your experience. But my feedback is just enjoy the journey. It might be crazy most times, bumps here and there, but always keep focused, and eventually you succeed at the end.
And is it something difficult to follow the course, research for the students? So what is your feeling about like the research work and also the course in Belgium?
I don't think it's difficult. We had the support of the lecturers and the facilitators, right? So they're always there to help. I think you should always be open to asking questions where you don't understand something or you're confused. They are there to support you. And also, don't be shy to ask your classmates, right? If you're confused or you need clarity, you could ask your classmates and they'll be there to support you, right? So just always have that supportive system around your learning journey, and that will help you to overcome any obstacles.
Okay, so one more thing. So how are the supportive how supportive is the faculty member for like the students, as you had to go through too many things during the last semester, writing thesis, maybe somebody's like preparing for the job or for the next journey, will start their startup or whatever, they have their own plans, so they had to manage a lot of things at the same time, looking just having just a six month time frame. So what do you think about it?
I think they were very supportive. A lot of them were really willing to do introductions for us, recommend us for maybe programs and activities to pitch our ideas at. I know they were able to also do that for you and your startup idea, right? So they were very open. They really wanted us to succeed in the program and outside the program. And I think the most important thing, or my advice for anyone not just in the ME program or in any other Erasmus program, is to try as much as possible to be passionate about your project or your idea, right? To be as visible as possible. You don't necessarily need to be shy. Be visible as possible, and they will be really willing to support your journey and your project.
And once you finished the degree, so what was your plan like?
Yeah, finishing the degree, I just wanted to take a break, right? So I think we graduated. We did our graduation on the 28th of February, if I'm correct. And the next thing, I booked my flight for Nigeria on the 3rd of March. And I arrived home and I just wanted to spend time with family, enjoy the moments that I've missed, and focus on my business, right? So, learning a lot in 18 months, I wanted to see how I could apply that to my business back home in Nigeria. So I went back home for a year, building my business, doing amazing stuff and projects. Worked with an amazing team. We did stuff that could only be imagined, right? Working on projects that were experienced by the vice president, traveling and speaking at a lot of events and conferences. I think it was really inspiring, right? So going back home doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you have an opportunity to impact the knowledge I've learned from Europe. And I think that really helped me for my next journey ahead.
Many of us like haven't left. So why did you left? And what was the reason? Like, I feel like, okay, you left. I didn't knew why. I have asked you many times. Maybe this is the time I might will ask again to get the answer. So why did you
I
left
think
back
I
to
think
home?
I think up to now I don't know why I left, because I remember leaving and my mom was like, "Why are you coming back home? Why don't you stay in Europe?" Right? But I'm glad I did, because I don't think I would have gotten the opportunity that I have at the moment if I had not like leave after the program, right? But I think leaving was more or less refocusing on what's next, right? Refocusing on what I want to achieve next. And even though Europe gives the opportunity, I felt I could do a lot back home in my country, Nigeria. I felt I could support a lot of people back home. And going back home was more or less like a reset, right? And more or less like re-energizing my focus and my purpose ahead. And that really helped me in terms of my business and what I was able to achieve during that period.
And you got 3 degree or 4 degree, right? In the 18 month, it was three
Yeah,
or four,
three,
four or
three.
three,
We got
three.
three,
Yeah,
one certificate of
yeah,
completion.
yeah. So one was from MBA from
Hmm.
the JASHM, Zagreb. Second one was Technology Management in Innovation and Technology. Third one was
Yeah.
Masters in Impact Entrepreneurship. Okay. So did those degree help you in your journey to start the uh, PhD, or you are doing the your startup, only startup at the same time? So this journey helped you.
Yeah, I did. It was a very big contributing factor to me securing the Maria Curie PhD, because Maria Curie PhD is like the the Erasmus of PhD, because it's either you are doing a degree and working in an industry, or you are doing 2 degrees at the same time, right? So um, that ability to move across different countries was a plus, and I think that is one of the should I say pointers that the program committee are looking out for people that have multicultural experiences, people that have traveled to different countries and have lived in different countries, right? Doesn't mean that if you have not done that, you cannot apply for the scholarship. You can, right? But having an Erasmus Mundus Masters will be a plus for you, and it shows that you have really achieved excellence in terms of a master's degree that was fully funded, and being accepted into a Marie Curie will also be like an advancement of your excellence for research.
Yeah, we will go deep into more about Marie Curie Master Scholarship, especially the PhD fellowship. But before that, I would love to also know about your startup. What basically you are doing. and how it is impacting to the people in your country. So you are so far I know that you are doing it to contribute to your own community, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
had
yeah, if you share your journey.
yeah, I had two startups. I had a VR company or a virtual reality company before going into the ME program. And in the ME program, I was able to build a career development company, which I had the idea before ME. So I used the ME program to grow the idea, fine tune it, and after ME, I relaunched it, and the impact of the project has been amazing. It's called Jobiti Careers, and the goal is to connect graduates within my city with job opportunities and the informations that they need to unlock their careers. And to be sincere, it's been amazing. Imagine somebody messaging you and saying, "Oh, thank you so much for the job advert you posted. I was able to get the job." Right? It's really fun and it's really heartwarming because you just an idea is making an impact in the lives of others, right? So I think doing that was really a good one for me, and I'm glad I was able to implement it.
Yeah, that's interesting. So in some extent I feel like, okay, everybody have some, everybody got some benefit from this program.
Yeah.
And it's glad that somebody from cohort 3 in the EME program have joined to us and listening to. And there are some questions, so we might will take. And if somebody, so all the audience, like who are listening to us, so if you have any question about the uh, Erasmus Masters Impact Entrepreneurship related or the MSc Fellowship related, so you can ask in the comment box and we'll try to answer that.
Mm.
Okay, so one question we have from Mustafizur Rahman Mehdi, that many students are interested in Erasmus Mundus or MSc, but feel confused about where to begin. Based on your own experience, how should a student or early career researcher start preparing, from the very first step?
Yeah, I think the first step is to research what the program is about, right? So do like a deep research on what are the goals of the program, what are their expectations and requirements, right? So you need to be very clear on that, know what they require, and then start gathering your documents, right? Start working on your CV, your motivation letter. If you need to take any course that relates to the program online, there are a lot of free courses that you can take that can help boost your CV. But my advice is understand what the program is about and its requirements, and then prepare your documents accordingly, right? If you have the chance to reach out to any of the alumni in the program, you can do that. If you can follow their updates on Instagram, on LinkedIn, you can also do that. But just be ready and be prepared for the application, right? You don't need to apply last minute. No, that's not really good, right? Prepare adequately, work on your documents, and when you put in a good application, it will really speak for you during the evaluation.
Yeah, we always see the things as a result. So we have been selected for somewhere, whatever it is, but it
Mm.
takes a lot of effort behind, right?
True,
So
true.
and like for your case, so how many application you did to get the PhD, Marie Curie Master Scholarship Fellowship? So how many in terms of numbers? So how many places you have applied for in last 2 years to get the Marie Curie Scholarship?
I think a lot. I think it's almost up to maybe 50, if I'm correct. Not
So
just Maria Curie, but other PhD applications. I think it's almost up to 50. Applied to schools in the UK, in the US, applied to a couple of Maria Curie programs in Europe. I was selected for 2 interviews, but I didn't make it to the final round, right? But I did not give up, right? I kept at it. And eventually I found the perfect program that fits all the requirements that I need, right? Fits my master's degree background. And it was just super easy. Applying, the interview was just amazing. Supervisors were super cool. And I think if you really keep showing up, what will really what has been really made for you would eventually find you. Yeah. But if you end up like giving up and not showing up, who knows, maybe that's the moment where you're supposed to excel, right? So
Yeah, I feel like 50 application is a lot. You had to make the motivation letter, and most of the high potential scholarships. So they ask for, like, write the research proposal, and had to prepare for the interview at the same time. So a lot of effort you had to give
yeah.
for every single application. So
Mhm,
it mean like you put a lot of effort. So many like
mhm.
have candidate like apply for like 2 3 and they say, oh, it's not working. So until it works, so keep applying. Yeah, so this is something, yeah, I feel okay. So nobody know like when it will work out.
True, true. But keep
Yeah.
showing up. Keep showing up.
And how competitive it was to join to the fellowship program, especially business. What I feel is like, especially only in the business, very rare. Getting a scholarship is rare.
Mm.
But if you are in science background,
Yeah,
STEM,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
science, technology, or like some other field, so it is easier.
Hmm.
Bunch of department, they're having a huge number of funding, so it's not that difficult to get into. But in the business, it is way harder than science. So how hard it was for you to get MSCA?
I won't. Uh, I think the rejections that I had prepared me for the current position that I'm on, right? So being rejected, okay, what didn't I do quite well, right? So I went back, I worked on my CV, I worked on my motivation, I worked on my research plan, right? So you must be very good at writing a good research plan and being able to communicate why you want to um, maybe be admitted into the scholarship or the program, right? So you need to work on your interview skills. It's very important that it's not just submitting a good application, but being able to converse in like a clear language and convince your interviewees that your interviewer, sorry, that you really want to get the scholarship, right? So even though you're putting in a lot of work in the application document, make sure you're putting in the work also in preparing for the interview, because most times people not getting the scholarship is because they didn't do quite well in the interview, right? Their documents might be amazing, even if they have Erasmus Mundus, but you need to be prepared as much as possible for the interview. I think that's the most important factor in securing an MSCA scholarship.
Yeah, that's true. Like, sometimes 1 minute talking can, destroy your
Yeah,
like 2 month effort. So
yeah.
that happens. So that happened in many times. So it is okay. So that you mentioned that, okay, it is all about like trial and error. So go back and learn and then
Hmm.
fix it and
Prepare. Yeah.
reapply. So yeah, and I think that's the secret to, get something at the end. And as you are doing the PhD, how is the PhD life?
It's good. I think being a Maria Curie scholar is quite interesting because it's not like your normal PhD. Most times you're employed. So you're employed as a researcher, not as a student. So you're an employee of the
Mhm.
university. You are being paid at least good salary, right? You have insurance, healthcare, you have your own office, right? Your own workspace, right? So it's really cool. A very supporting working environment at the university. Everybody's like family, and they have provided you everything to excel. It's now up to you to excel, right? So you need to be very, very focused on what you're doing and just enjoy the journey, right? Just like we did for Erasmus, it's an opportunity to make impact, to do good research, and to change the world if possible.
And yeah, and what's the difference doing a master's and PhD? As you are going through PhD, you finish the master. So you feel any difference?
Yeah, I think for PhD, nobody is there to teach you. You need to learn on your own, right? For masters, you have classes, you have your supervisors or your facilitators. But for a PhD, you have to learn basically everything on your own, right? So you have to be very, very productive at reading papers, understanding the papers, and being able to churn out good knowledge from those literatures, right? You also must be very good at networking, right? You don't need to be on your own in a PhD. You need to surround yourself with good friends, good support system at the university, and being able to share your insight as clear as possible, especially with your supervisors, right? Because if they don't understand what you're doing, they might think you're not really ready for a PhD, right? So you must be very good at communicating what you want to do, and they are there to support you to make that impact.
Yeah, it's all about impact at the end of the day. So whatever you
Yeah.
do, and so you will be doing PhD in two different countries. So if you tell about it, so it will one will be one consortium country is Finland, right? Many people talk about the Finland education, that one of the best education they provide to the student. So
Yeah.
what do you feel about their education? As already you have the education in Europe in three, four different countries. So if you
Mhm.
compare like Belgium, Lithuania, Croatia, or UK, so what's the difference they have in their education system?
Like, Finland is like the happiest country in the world, right? So
Mhm.
that support system around students is really good. The facilitators are very friendly, and also their quality of education is it's very good, very practical, like very very practical. I think it's more of a hybrid learning system. Most classes are online, most classes are in person, right? So they are more flexible in their learning process, and their goal is to make sure that students are not just grabbing knowledge, but they are practicing what they have learned in the classroom externally, right? So I think so far so good. It's been an amazing journey, and I think I just rounded up my first course, right? And I'm looking forward to the rest.
So you had to take course during your PhD, but you said that in PhD you don't have course, just have the research work. So if you
No,
make it,
for PhD,
yeah, yeah.
it depends on your institution and your
Mhm.
program, right? But for us, we have compulsory courses you need to take. Those courses just help you to understand the research process you are trying to undertake, right? So, for example, you might take a qualitative research method course, you might take a quantitative research method course, right? You might take a course maybe on sustainability. The goal of this course is to help you build a strong foundation for your research, right? So, imagine you don't have a good foundation and you're just going into research. You might end up doing things the wrong way, right? But those courses will help you to have ideas, methodologies you want to implement, and you churn out like very good research
Yeah,
papers and projects.
it is like identify the problem first, then go to solve it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. And in terms of like the practicality of the PhD, so many countries like also offer the PhD. So you say that they are more practical. So in what term? In especially in business.
Yeah, I think for the business school or at Lut University, they are more focused on research to industry, right? So they want projects, they want research activities that can be implemented in industry, right? So they are really encouraging research students to work on pilots or projects from their research, right? Not just churning out a paper, but churning out a project from your paper, right, that can be applied into industry. So it's more of a practical based research learning process. And they really encourage researchers to do that. All right. I'm part of what we call the loot storming group, whereby we support researchers that really want to transform their ideas into projects, and we give them access and support to like ecosystem stakeholders to translate those ideas into projects. So I think we're in a time of research whereby it's not just about writing, it's about writing and practicalizing what you have done as a project that can also make an impact if possible.
So what you say is all about transforming knowledge to the industry, not just it will be limited to the paper.
Yeah,
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 that is something, yeah, very very I will say unique, and many university in the other country as well have also similar design, but
yeah.
very few. Okay, so you can you share something about the consortium like you are doing in Marie Curie scholarship? Like, it's something very uh, unfamiliar for many of the candidate like who apply from developing country for the first time. So how does it really work? So people like are confused. You are doing PhD. How can you do in 2 country, 3 country, or in many organization at the at the same time? So how does it really work?
I think it revolves around the philosophy of the European Union, right? They are very big on mobility, very big on mobility-led learning, right? I think that really helps to bring that experience factor into the learning process because, for example, we had 3 degrees from 3 universities. We already have that multicultural experience to our learning process, and we can be able to adapt to any learning environment because we have had that diversity of learning. For the Marakuri, the goal is, like I said, seeing how they can also tie their mobility structure around the PhD, whereby students move from one institution to another or from one institution to industry, right, to practicalize what they have learned and also engage with external stakeholders that they may not really have access to if they are just studying in one university, right? So that really helps with that mobility led research experience. And for my own consortium, under the Dream Plus plan program, it's a double PhD whereby I'll be doing a couple of years at Lutz University in Finland and a year at RMIT in Australia, and taking both courses and doing research activities in both institutions, right, will now qualify me for a double PhD from both schools. It's a lot, right? But it's an interesting journey because
What do you mean by double PhD? You will get 2 PhD.
yes, 2 PhDs.
Oh, that's nice. So you would have 3 masters, 2 PhD.
That's 5.
That's enough, man.
Yeah, so
So
that's why it's
one you will
interesting.
go get from RMIT Australia, another is from
Yeah,
LUT Finland.
yeah.
Okay.
hmm
And what you are working on? What is
So
the topic?
my topic is focused on impactful technology entrepreneurship, and the key focus is around regenerative businesses. So we're moving from sustainability to regeneration, which is more or less preserving our planet and creating processes that actually heal and not extract from our ecosystem or from our planet, right? So my focus is working with these startups and companies around regenerative business, understanding their life cycle and their processes, what are their challenges, and how can industry and the ecosystem support these entrepreneurs to build regenerative ventures for the future.
So I think we already have extend the 1 hour. So
Mhm.
uh, I I might will ask one more question before end. If you have any advice or guideline uh, to the participant or who will was the video letter
Mhm.
to will apply for MBA or the PhD program in Europe. So what will be that?
I think, like I always say, tell a good story, right? Tell or share your purpose as clear as possible and share how that PhD or that master's, if you're applying for an Erasmus, if you're applying for an MSCA, share how that would help your journey, right? And share some of the experiences that you bring to the table. Always be a person of value, always be a person of impact, and show how amazing you can be if you get the opportunity, right? So no matter where you are in the world, watching this video or watching the video in the future, right? I mean, watching this session in the future, right? Just have that faith in yourself. Believe in your journey. You don't need to compare your journey with anyone else. It's your journey, it's your life, right? And try to make the best out of it as much as possible.
Yeah, Aram, thanks a lot for giving the time to us. So, and I might will talk 2 minutes to Bangla to my audience about Bio
Yeah, it's
Bangla.
fine.
So listen, and then we'll finish. সো আমরা বায়ু বাংলাতে মূলত কাজ করি টেকনোলজি ইনোভেশন সায়েন্স অ্যান্ড এন্টারপ্রেনারশিপ নিয়ে এবং আমাদের কিছু প্রোগ্রাম অলরেডি এখন আমরা রানিং এ রাখছি যেটা আপনারা জয়েন করতে পারেন আপনারা আপনাদের বিভিন্ন ভাবে আমাদের সাথে যুক্ত হতে পারেন যেমন আপনারা যদি চান তাহলে আমাদের সাথে যুক্ত হতে পারেন ভলেন্টিয়ার হিসাবে তো ভলেন্টিয়ার হতে হলে আপনাদেরকে করতে হবে কি আমাদেরকে মেল লিখতে হবে মোটিভেশন একটা মোটিভেশন লেটার লিখে দুটাকে কম্পাইল করে আমাদেরকে মেল করলেই দেন আমরা ইন্টারভিউ কলের জন্য ডাকবো। দেন আপনারা আমাদের সাথে যুক্ত হতে পারেন ইন্টার্ন হিসেবে। তো আমরা বায়ো বাংলা এবং কাল এগ্রোর পক্ষ থেকে আমরা 10 জন ইন্টার্ন নিচ্ছি। তো আপনারা চাইলে আপনারা অ্যাপ্লাই করতে পারেন, স্পেশালি যারা বায়োলজিক্যাল সায়েন্সে কাজ করতে চান তাদের জন্য এই প্রোগ্রামটা। তো আমরা ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়াল একটা প্রজেক্ট যেটা আমাদের স্টার্ট আপের অধীনে আমরা লঞ্চ করছি, তো সেখানে আপনারা ইনভলভ হতে পারবেন। লাস্ট যে জিনিসটা, আপনারা যদি চান আমাদের সাথে আপনাদের গল্পটা যদি মনে হয় আপনার কাছে যে আপনার গল্পটা হতে পারে কারোর জন্য অনুপ্রেরণার, তো আমাদের সাথে যোগাযোগ করতে পারেন। আমরা আপনাদের গল্পটাকে অডিয়েন্সের মাধ্যমে আমাদের প্ল্যাটফর্মের মাধ্যমে অডিয়েন্সের কাছে পৌঁছানোর চেষ্টা করব। সবাই ভালো থাকবেন, ধন্যবাদ। আরম, হ্যালো, আর ইউ দেয়ার?
Yeah, I'm
থ্যাংক
here.
ইউ।
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you, ma'am. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.